Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of The Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Please forgive me as I get social media hooked up here so we can get comments in. And I've got everything hooked up. I want to remind everybody as we go live that you can get your comments in by, if you're watching on the Polite Society podcast feeds, comment on either the live Facebook or YouTube feeds, or you can, whoa, and I lost my main monitor. There we go. Lost my monitor for a second. You can, if you're watching anywhere other than Polite Society podcast, Facebook, or YouTube feeds, you can go to Twitter and tweet with the hashtag #TheBullet if you're watching on OpsLens or anywhere else. I'll get those comments. I'll get them on the air. Normally, today, I would be joined by Rob Morse. Unfortunately, Rob is not connected yet. I do not know what's going on. And Rob never, ever, ever, ever does this to me, so I do not know what's going on. And this may be a bit of a short show because I don't normally work alone. I usually have somebody to work off of, and we back and forth. So it's really important today. Get your comments in, so I've got something to work off of. It's not often that I try and fill 30 minutes all by myself. So I need you to help me fill these 30 minutes. Get your comments in. Let me get started. The first thing I want to do today, I'm going to put this up on the screen. U.S. Capitol switchboard 202-224-3121. The reason I have that up is the Senate this week is taking up the assault weapons ban that the House passed, but has done nothing since it passed the House. Right now, as it sits, it's in the Judiciary Committee. I looked at this thing today. I did not get through the whole thing. It's rather large. But I did look at this thing today, and it is a mess. It does not have a sunset clause like the assault weapon ban in the 90s did. This one, basically, if you have any type of rifle that is not a bolt action or a pump action rifle, it's going to be illegal. If you have a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds, it doesn't matter what it goes in, it is going to be illegal. This thing needs to be stopped. These things are definitely in common use, of course, referring to the Heller decision and the opinion by Justice Scalia that if firearms are in common use, they should not be banned. So, and that law cannot touch weapons that are in common use. Interestingly, and I'd love to talk to Rob about this, but interestingly, if you were to ask me, the M4 and the M16 are in common use in the military. So I'll just kind of leave that there. But yeah, you need to, if you would please, get in touch with your senators. Make sure they know that you do not want this to go forward. It's especially important if you have a senator that is a member of the Judiciary Committee in the Senate. And I'm going to read off the list of these senators just so that you know who is on this committee and if your senator is one of them. The chair is Senator Dick Durbin out of Illinois. A ranking Republican is Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa. Patrick Leahy from Vermont. Lindsey Graham out of South Carolina. Feinstein out of California. Cornyn out of Texas. Sheldon Whitehouse out of Rhode Island. Senator Mike Lee, who, believe it or not, is a friend of the Second Amendment, out of Utah, Cruz out of Texas, again, a friend of the Second Amendment, Klobuchar out of Minnesota, not so much. Senator Chris Coons out of Delaware, I don't know about him so much, but considering the state he's from, chances aren't good. Ben Sass out of Nebraska, Josh Hawley out of Missouri, Senator Richard Blumenthal out of Connecticut, not a friend of the Second Amendment, Senator Mazi Hirano out of Hawaii, and Cory Booker out of New Jersey are on the committee. Tom Cotton out of Arkansas, and Senator John Kennedy out of Louisiana, Senator Tom Tills out of North Carolina, Marsha Blackburn out of Tennessee, Senator John Ossoff out of Georgia, and Senator Alex Padilla out of California are the members of that committee. So if you are in any of those states, please, please, please get in touch with your senators and let them know you do not want this going forward. Be polite, be professional, and because let's face it, excuse me, let's face it, they're not. If you call up spewing venom, you're probably going to get hung up on, and your opinion will not make it very far at all. If you're polite and professional, you've got a better chance of somebody listening to you for more than about 3 seconds. Let me see over here. I'm going to get a couple comments in on the air here real quick. This one comes from Michael. Hinds County DA accused of pulling gun on man in woman's apartment. And then he sends a link to the story. That one didn't hit my radar so far today. I will have to I'll have to go look at that, and maybe it will make it to the air tomorrow. Yeah, that's unfortunately it's not all that uncommon for someone to who is in a position of authority to step way beyond that authority and think that they have the ability to do whatever the heck they feel like. And if that involves pulling a gun on somebody, wherever they're at, that sometimes happens. George Geller over on the Facebook side says, maybe Cory Booker can tell us another T-Bone story. What a goofball. Well, he is in the Senate seat right now. There's not much. If you're going to call his office, be respectful to the person that answers his phone. Booker's not going to answer his own phone. Be respectful to the aide that answers that phone and give them your opinion. Give them a couple reasons why you think this is a bad idea. Mainly because, look, these things are not being used in the majority of crimes. The vast majority of crimes that are used with a firearm, handguns are used, not AR-15s. And these are absolutely in common use. So this is a bad thing. And then a lot of the banning in this, yeah, there's a lot of definition banning, but they're banning a ton of firearms by name. So if this goes through, I expect the AR-15, the AR-10 are two specific things that are going to be banned. Well, how long do you think if this goes through before they come out with the AR-16 and the AR? Well, there is already an AR-7, but you know they come up with different numbers, or they'll come up with just a different name for the rifle. And how do I put this? You cannot stop progress. Things that you can make laws against whatever you want to make laws against. and people are still going to do it if they want to do it. Um, and this is not gun related, and this could get me in trouble, but prostitution in most areas of the nation is illegal. Guess what? It still happens. If you think it doesn't, man, I got a bridge to sell you. Let me get see if we got more. Yeah, Michael over here. I love your comment. Whoops, I wanted to get that one. Like Hillary said, no one is above the law. You know what? Once some people get into office, especially people like district attorneys who are responsible for prosecuting the law, sometimes they think they are the law, therefore untouchable. So sometimes they need to be brought up short. It sounds like that needs to be the case for this district attorney. And I'm not, I'm so used to pushing buttons when there are two of us on screen. I just automatically reach for the button, and it wasn't there. We got another story I want to get to today, and this one, I got this one off NRA ILA. On September 2nd, investigative journalism outlet Project Veritas leaked New York Police Department legal update bulletin titled New York State Restrictions on Carrying Concealed Firearms. Allegedly a newsletter from the Office of Deputy Commissioner of the NYPD. The document instructs officers on how to address those exercising their right to carry outside the home for self-defense in the wake of the U.S. Supreme Court's case, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, and the New York State Assembly's legislative attempt to undo the decision. Aside for information for officers on the contours of New York's convoluted new laws, such as stressing the incomprehensible new patchwork of gun-free zones, the document notes that those exercising their Second Amendment rights are presumed guilty until proven innocent. The bulletin emphasizes, quote, people who are carrying firearms in New York State are presumed to be doing so unlawfully until proven otherwise. The document goes on to explain officers may stop an individual when the officer has reasonable suspicion that such individual is carrying a firearm and may frisk that individual since the officer has reasonable suspicion that the individual is armed and dangerous. Note that the bulletin states this latter intrusion may occur based merely on reasonable suspicion of carrying a firearm, not suspicion that the firearm is being carried illegally. They assume that if you're carrying it, it's illegal. The reason they can assume that is they built a law that is so convoluted, so backwards, so hard to understand that it's nearly impossible to carry legally. And I would honestly expect that in the very near future that this abomination of a law, there's already a lot of challenges to it, that this abomination of a law is going to be struck down. If it has to go all the way to the Supreme Court, believe me, there will be a fast track on that thing. So I don't expect this law to last 3 years. I don't expect it to last a year, but if it goes beyond 3, it would stun me. So let me go check to see if, Michael, get this. We got a couple comments I want to get up. Michael said, it's been happening since Fred Flintstone days. Yeah. If you make a law, and I really wish that Alex Uli were with me right now. There are laws because there are things that are obvious, and I do not remember the terms of these things. There are laws that are made because things are obviously wrong. Murder is illegal because it's obviously wrong to kill somebody. Theft is illegal because it's obviously wrong to take something that's not yours. Then there are laws are it's illegal because I say it's illegal. And there have been people working their ways around those laws ever since those laws have been around. Gerald has a suggestion. I like this suggestion. Take AR, Armalite rifle, out of the name. That's just about guaranteed should this go through. But it's important. We need to stop this nonsense now. I'll go ahead and I will put up that number again, 202-224-3121. That's the way we start stopping it. And don't just call that number. Yes, call that number. Talk to both of your senators in your state. It doesn't matter if they're on the Judiciary Committee or not. Definitely call. I want everybody who can hear my voice or see my beautiful face. I want everybody to call that number. Talk to both of your senators. Especially, yes, if they're on the Judiciary Committee, but even if they're not. Because I have a feeling it's going to get to the full Senate no matter what. But I also want you to call. Every senator has at least 2 or 3 offices in their state. One of my senators here in my small population state of South Dakota has 4 offices. The other has 5. So call each of the offices that that your senators have in your state. Talk to the people there and let them know you want to get a message to Senator X or Y, and let them know that you oppose the federal assault weapons ban that's being considered in the Senate right now. And by the way, that is the assault weapons ban of 2022, otherwise known as HR 1808. So, Michael, doing a great job today, Michael. Michael says, I took the USCCA New York CCW class. I think I'm a qualified criminal attorney now. Okay. If I get in trouble in New York, that would first require me going to New York. But please don't take offense, Michael, if I hire a real attorney and one that has lots of experience dealing with New York law. So, but yeah. Anyway, let me go over here, and we're doing great on time. We still got about 12 minutes left. Next story comes off of Reason.com. There's a new survey out, and we talked about this survey a little bit last week. But out of this survey, let me come back over here to the story. This is by Professor William English at Georgetown University. This survey. And overall, Americans own in excess of 415 million firearms, consisting of approximately 171 million handguns, 146 million rifles, and 98 million shotguns. 30.2% of gun owners, about 24.6 million people, have owned an AR-15 or similarly styled rifle, and up to 44 million such rifles have been owned. 48% of gun owners, about 39 million people, have owned magazines that hold over 10 rounds, and up to 542 million such magazines have been owned. What I think is interesting about that statistic is California, for a long time, has had a ban on magazines over 10 rounds. Washington State has a brand new ban on magazines over 10 rounds. And there are a few other states that have magazine limitations. If they were not in place, I think those numbers would go way up. Specifically, I think if California's were to have gone away, those numbers would be way up. Let's face it, a 10-round magazine is a smaller magazine. Most handguns, most semi-automatic handguns have a capacity of at least 10 rounds, unless you're talking about the very small super concealable handguns that are out there. Most standard guns have a standard capacity of at least 10 rounds. So, and let me go over and check. And then, let's see, we've got 10 minutes left. Next story I want to cover that we haven't covered here on the bullet yet. Several million new gun owners have been added in 2020 and 2022. An impressive figure. This off of AmmoLand. National Shooting Sports Foundation, by using retail surveys, estimates 13.8 million purchased a firearm or firearms for the first time in 2020 and 2021. It appears the trend has continued in 2022. The ratio of NICS checks to gun sales has varied significantly. Relying on NICS checks alone can result in significant errors in gun sales estimates. Fortunately, it is possible to dig down in the FBI-related gun figures for NICS and separate actual gun sales from NICS checks. While those figures are not absolutely unambiguous, they are probably within a percent or two of the number of firearms purchased within NICS checks. Basically, where this is going is, in August, this past August was the third highest August on record. And I want to say it's the 36th month in a row of firearm sales in excess of 2 million. So we're still buying firearms in huge amounts. So I forgot to mute my phone, and I apologize for that. Make sure that's muted. There we go. So anyway, and keep going, folks. Keep doing that. And I would encourage you right now, I don't mean to cause a rush, but with what's going on in Congress, specifically in the Senate right now, it already passed the House with the assault weapons ban. If you do not own an AR, right now is an excellent time to buy one. If you do own an AR and there's one you've been eyeing that you might like, it's also an excellent time to add to your collection. Susan and I do have a collection of ARs, and yeah, that's it. That thought has been entering my mind, and I think with this now moving in the Senate, now might be a great time to add to the Lathrop family collection of rifles. The reason being, and the reason I'd like to encourage that, is simply to add to the common use. The AR is currently, the AR style platform is currently the most popular rifle by a long shot available today. It is there's more ARs sold than any other type of weapon. I would like to expand that. I would like to see so many ARs out that banning them, it would make it makes zero sense now, but it makes even less sense. Can you get less than zero? No, we'll see. So anyway, want to get on one more story here. Delaware, they got this off DelawareRepublic.org. The Delaware Sportsman Association sued against Delaware's assault weapons ban. As soon as it went through, they have amended their complaint. The amended complaint lists a dozen new constitutional arguments, including violations of the so-called Takings Clause of the 5th and 14th Amendments of the U.S. Constitution, which requires the government to fairly compensate citizens for property taken for public use. Association President Jeff Haig argues the state's buyback program for high-capacity magazines and again, they're not high capacity, they're standard capacity, doesn't adequately compensate those who are required to turn in magazines. It offers, get this, up to $15 for the most common magazines with a total budget for the state of up to $45,000. We feel even though they have this so-called buyback program, and in my view, the government can't buy back something it never owned, in this case, there's a limited amount of funding, and there's no way that everyone who complies will be able to be compensated. That he said that again, Jeff Haig. It right now, if you were to go buy I should do a fast search here. And we are coming down to the bottom of the hour, but let me find out. I'm just doing a fast search right now to buy a brand new Magpul PMag 30 rounder from Sportsman's Warehouse, $15.99. So the buyback doesn't even cover what it costs to buy a brand new magazine. This is stupidity. Let alone if the government wants to take something away, they automatically cause a scarcity. Anybody who's taken any kind of economics class knows that a scarcity increases price. So I would say if the government wants to do a buyback program, they need to be offering not $15, but $150 per magazine. So anyway, and let's again, common use. You can't touch this in the wonderful words of MC Hammer. Oh, hello. Get a couple of comments in here. Michael, love this comment, Michael. I'm buying 5 high-capacity 3D printers. Yes. I've considered it myself. I've not taken the plunge, and although I can use tech, I'm not very mechanically inclined. So 3D printing kind of bridges is the gap there. It is technology, yes, but it's also mechanics. And so being someone that has 10 thumbs, I don't know if I want to get into that too much. Gerald says, does the current law, if passed, grandfather current owners? I do not believe it does. No. I do not believe that it does. And George, Joe Biden, gun salesman of the year. And I mentioned this. I can't remember if I mentioned it on the bullet or if I mentioned it on Polite Society last night. But one of the two, I mentioned it yesterday. I honestly believe Biden is turning out to be a better gun salesman than Obama was. At least Obama tried to hide that he was a gun grabber. Biden's going right out and saying it. So, yeah, I'm gonna close with this. We got less than a minute, and I'm gonna run over. Even just by myself, I'm gonna run over. I'm gonna close with this. We need to stay active. We need to be pushing. There's several fronts I'd like to encourage you to do that on. Of course, get in touch with your legislators. Right now, it's super important to get in touch with your senators, but all the way down to your local state senators, your state house reps. Nebraska, you don't have them. You only have state senators, but with your state level politicians and your city level politicians. But get in touch with your elected representatives on all levels. And the other thing I'd really, really, really like for us to do, and I need to work on this more myself, we need to create new gun owners. We need to create more people on our side. The way we do that is we are nice to people. We become friends with more people. You got to break out of your shell. You got to meet new people, and you got to be friends with them first before you start talking firearms. And we got new neighbors about a month ago that lived just on that side of us. I actually met them for the first time a few days ago. And I'm rather embarrassed, but I need to break out of my shell. Need to get more active in the local community. I need to make more friends, and I need to invite those friends to go shooting after they become friends. So don't start right, because if you start right off by, hey, nice to meet you, do you want to go shooting, you could be looked at as kind of a little bit of a gun nut. But anyway, that was going to be my closing, but I did forget. I do want to plug on our way out the door. I want to ask everybody, please, 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 if you can make it, get down to Dallas the end of the month, September 30th, October 1st, October 2nd, for Gun Rights Policy Conference. That's if you want to register, and please do register, saf.org/GRPC. They are a little bit under on registrations this year, and it's the first time in 3 years we've had a live GRPC. If you absolutely cannot make it, I will be broadcasting it, but there's nothing like being there live, being able to interact with people that are speaking live and in person, and get their ideas, and people that may not be speaking but are still there, are still making a difference in the gun world. The positive energy you get out of being there is absolutely unmatched. If you can make it there, please, please, please make it there. And when you do, come up, shake my hand. I'll be there all weekend. So that's going to do it for today. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I made it 32 minutes so far, all by myself. Boy, is my voice dry. I'm going to shut this down. Come join me tomorrow. Amanda Suffolcool is going to be the commentator. And we'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central.